Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're hopping into the new event that is over here on the global side of the game against BANARO Island BLACKBEARD. So the clash of BLACKBEARD and Ace is finally represented in OPTC Global, and this particular free-to-play unit is actually pretty solid. So in today's video, I do have 4 teams for you guys to take down the new event, and with this particular event, it's the start of the new structure, where they bring a lot of boosted characters into the event. You can get some extra points, and that way you can get your Chopper Man missions done a little bit quicker. So this particular character is fairly decent. I would highly recommend farming him up. He reduces HP by 20% for all enemies. He reduces defense up, damage reduction, and threshold by 4 turns, which is very, very good. And changes his own orb into int. Because he's a Blackbeard, he has a lot of very good supports. He does damage, so you can use stuff like the Halloween Law support. He rotates orbs, so you can use Dofi support. He's driven, he's powerhouse, he's int. He's a very good unit, and I would highly, highly recommend farming him up. His captain ability kind of like who cares. And as far as I remember, he actually has a pretty good rumble ability. Self-defense down level 3, but he does self-HP up and in-hate teams HP up level 5. You can slap him in the middle slot, and he could just be like an absolute tank. And he does defense down level 3. So, a pretty solid unit. I definitely make sure to farm him up. And in today's video, I do have 4 fully boosted teams for you guys. So, if you guys are doing your team building, and you do have a look at sort of the characters that are sort of... When you're basically team building, you sort of want to have a look at what characters are boosted when it comes to building these teams. So, if we just go select all here and we start over, I'll show you what I mean by this. If you guys go to filter, and you go sort by boosted effects, it's going to bring up all the characters that are boosted. They're going to be in this yellow sort of barrier. Now, the new batch, it starts at the top, obviously with Whitebeard and Shanks, the new batch, and then the new BANARO Island BLACKBEARD. They all give you the highest amount of points. As you go down, there's a bunch of other characters that are boosted, and they're going to give you guys a little bit more points to try and gain those Chopper Man missions a little bit quicker. So, like I said, 4 teams in today's video. If you are enjoying today's video, make sure to smash the like button. If you are new to the channel too, hit that big red subscribe button. We just hit 5k subs, boys. I'm very, very happy about it. I am going to sort of keep talking about it for a little while, but if you haven't done so already, make sure to smash that subscribe button. And with that said, let's dive in. Alright, so the first team is utilizing a double A Sabo team with full free-to-play subs. So this is the team, these are the supports. Let's dive in. Alright, so over here on stage 3, we come up against Jesus Burgess. Now, against Jesus Burgess, he has a 1 int orb barrier, and he's a pretty annoying stage. So on this particular turn, you really want to have the super switch available for a Sabo, or at least have BLACKBEARD underneath one of your Ace Sabos. On the first turn, you actually get a full 15 turns or something like that, or I think it's 20 turns of recovery down. So it's very hard to heal here, and I would highly recommend having a ship that gives HP and supports that can give HP, as once you do get to the final stage, you do need to tank a 27,000 hit. So we are going to switch with a Sabo for the super switch here. That's going to give us a 2.5 times color affinity boost, but more importantly, it's going to give us an orb on our BLACKBEARD. We're then going to use the special of a Sabo here. They can give us an orb boost to our free spirit and shooter characters, and because this pretty much team is a full free spirit and shooter team, besides obviously BLACKBEARD himself, we can actually just destroy this particular stage with the 3 turns of orb boost that a Sabo can provide. The big reason we have Luffy on this team is purely so we can get those 3 turns of the Ace Sabo orb boost. Other than that, he really doesn't have too much of a placeholder here, but he is kind of handy if you don't have max sockets like this particular team you see in front of you. On stage 4, we come up against VanOrgo. Now against VanOrgo, this is where the BLACKBEARD is really, really good. He does a 20% HP cut. He removes the the damage reduction and the threshold that VanOrgo puts up. He puts up 2 turns of each, and he only lets us use 1 special. So we are going to switch with the other Ace Sabo to give ourselves color affinity as well as a full border orbs once again, and then we can just sort of hit our perfects. Now on this particular stage, you really don't want to actually kill VanOrgo. You just want to get him very, very low. So as you guys will see here, we are just going to get him as low as possible, as we do need to make sure we use the Koala special before we move on to the next stage. On the final stage, you normally get 4 turns of attack down, but utilizing Koala on this particular stage actually makes us immune to that for 3 turns, as well as giving us an attack buff. Now, the downside to that is once VanOrgo gets down low, he turns into an int character and he puts up a side barrier, which can be a little bit annoying. But the reason that we brought our young Shinobu on this particular team, as well as a Sabo captains, is we have barrier pens, so we can actually just get through that really, really nicely, and then we can move on to the final stage against Blackbeard. Now, against Blackbeard, he does a lot of stuff. He binds our right-hand column, and that's why we needed to use our Sabo special first, not our friend captains. He's also going to despair us, give us a full board of block orbs, and normally gives us an attack down. So he does a lot. So what we can do here is we can switch with Sabo. That's going to give us a little bit of a color affinity boost. We can use Sabo special to remove the bind and the block orbs, as well as the despair if you're not in the ace variation. The Luffy's great because he can remove the rest of the bind and lock our orbs. And besides that, we're pretty much really, like, from there, we're just good to go. We can just hit our perfects. Remember, Blackbeard's not getting a buff from the ship. So just be mindful of that. And he's not getting a buff from the orb boost as well. With Sabos as our captain, we can easily take out the Blackbeard. Once Blackbeard dies, however, he does like a 27,000 death hit, and that's why using something like the Aura Jackson and supports that give you HP or damage reduction against int characters is going to work so damn nicely. So that was the free-to-play friendly team. It does include like Sabo as your captain, but you could probably use Onigashima Luffy as your captain there, and then replace the other free-to-play Luffy with something else. That should work absolutely fine if you guys are missing Sabo, but you definitely want to bring a friend Sabo. As you can see, we have 2.01 times points, so it does work quite nicely. Let's move on to the next team now. Alright, so moving on to the next team now, we're utilizing Bonney and Bonnie's batch. We are bringing the Blackbeard once again, and we are bringing a friend Marco. Now, Marco's another character that is highly boosted, but this team's really, really cool, because you can actually do a lot of different things. You can easily bring Whitebeard as your friend captain. You can bring Marco as your friend captain. You can bring another Bonney as your friend captain if you really want to. But it means that you will have to hold on to an in orb at the start, or you will need something like the Mr. 3 support that you do see on my Bonney. If you guys don't have the Mr. 3 support and you don't want to take the risk of getting an in orb at the start of the fight and hanging on to it for the rest of the turns, you really want to bring Komurasaki as your friend captain. That absolutely works fine too. But this is the team, those are the supports. Let's dive in. Alright, so once again, we're over here on stage 3 against Jesus Burgess. Now, Jesus Burgess is Sai, and he puts up that int barrier. So this is why hanging on to an int orb throughout the entire fight is very, very handy, or using something like the Mr. 3 support. Now, as you can see, because we have Bonney, we have a lot of recovery orbs, and that's because this content is built around Sai units, so just be mindful of that. Once we do hit this stage, we actually are going to use our Marco special. Marco is going to give us color affinity, and that's basically the big reason why we have him. But if you have Komurasaki, Komurasaki's going to guarantee you an int orb. You could even use something like the Whitebeard special here if you're using Whitebeard, or you could use a Bonney special if you're using Bonney as well. But just be mindful that Bonney gives you recovery orbs, so just be very, very careful when it comes to that. What we're going to do is here, we're not going to use that because then we get recovery orbs. Yeah, cool. From there, we can just sort of hit our perfects, and we should be able to kill our boy Jesus Burgess, as that color affinity that Marco provides is very, very nice. If you guys are using something like Komurasaki or Whitebeard, you could just use the X-Drake special, especially if you have double special. He's going to work very nicely there as well. Once we move on to the next stage, we come up against Van Ogre. Now, against Van Ogre, he has 2 turns of defense up and threshold, and this is where Vista's normally really good, but we are going to use the new BANARO Blackbeard, the free-to-play unit, for more points. And with the Halloween lore support, we can actually get an orb boost as well. And as you guys will see here, because we have that orb boost to in characters, Bonney makes recovery orbs matching, and then we can just easily take out Van Ogre, no issues whatsoever. And this is why the Blackbeard's so good, because he has access to such good supports, as well as having a very, very good special. Once we move on to the final stage against Blackbeard once again, he becomes a Sai unit, and he is going to give us a full board of block orbs, right-hand side bind, so that's why you want to make sure you have Apu on the left. He gives us 4 turns of attack down, and he has full immunity. So we can use the Apu special here. Apu's going to remove the bind, the 5 turns, which is great. Hawkins is going to be our orb booster. He removes the despair and the attack down. We can get around the block orbs with the Bonney special, which is very, very nice. And then we have color affinity with our boy X-Drake as well. X-Drake's like, he's really not essential in this particular team. He's just here because he's boosted. And other than that, like, he just sort of doesn't really hold too much value. But as you guys can see there, we can easily take out this particular stage. And with the Magello ship, we can actually tank that final shot. It works quite nicely. You can also use some supports like Time Skip Nami works great to reduce damage from Sai characters, and any character that sort of has that built into them is going to help you guys tank a little bit of damage on that final stage. If you use Komurasaki as a friend captain as well, it's going to be a little bit nicer because she has damage reduction, but I'd highly recommend trying to bring something like Marco or Whitebeard. So that was the Bonney team. It was a lot of fun using Bonney in her batch. I haven't used her since her release basically because I didn't have her, but let's move on to the next team now. Alright, so moving on to the next team now, we're utilizing a hybrid Kid with the new Whitebeard versus Legend. Now, this particular team sort of built for you guys that did a few multis and didn't pick up Whitebeard and managed to get Kid. And you managed to pick up, like, Rockstar and Ben Beckman. So, like, this is the team. These are the supports. Let's dive in. Now, I am going to showcase, like, the entire run here, because this is basically, like, a no-stall team as well. And there's something that I want to talk about as well. With Whitebeard, you do want to try and build up some int orbs and some psi orbs as early as possible. And utilizing Ben Beckman on this particular team really helps you do that. What you guys can do here is, if you are missing something like Ben Beckman, so then you can't get those psi orbs at the start, it's not that big of a deal. But you just really want to make sure that you can sort of try and farm up orbs. Now, we got fairly unlucky there. What you can also do with this particular team is you can try and keep an int orb on one of your characters. With an int orb, you can actually replace Ben Beckman completely, and that way you don't have to worry about having all of those new batch characters that you do see on this particular team. Having Whitebeard's special or verse ability ready to go by the final stage is fairly important, and it is something that you really want to do, as you are going to need that damage reduction. But again, like with Whitebeard, and you could probably use something like, or you can't use the Magello ship because your Whitebeard's not your captain. But Whitebeard's damage reduction just, like, helps out drastically. The big reason that I have Rebecca on this particular team is she can actually rotate orbs. But like I said, if you are missing the Ben Beckman unit, you could easily replace him with this Vivi, and then bring another character that can sort of just give you an int orb on the final stage. Oh, sorry, on this particular stage against Jesus Burgess. Just like you saw with the Bonney team, you can easily use the Mr. 3 support. That'll also work wonders as well. But on this particular stage against Jesus Burgess, you can do a couple different things. We have an orb on Whitebeard, but I am going to use the special of Rebecca to guarantee us some matching orbs here as well. We are going to use the Kid special as well for an attack boost, and then we're going to break through that barrier with our Blackbeard, and then we can start doing some damage. Now, remember, on this particular team, Rockstar is not actually getting boosted. Rockstar's basically just here because he's our block orb manipulator. You could use something like a Sabo. He's going to work. They're going to work very, very nicely if you have them. If you did do any summons at all on this particular banner, but you'd really just want them there for block orbs and to try and get around Despair. But you could probably use the support to get around Despair as well. On to the next stage against our boy Van Ogre. We can use the Blackbeard special once again. He does that HP cut, removes the defensive effects, and once again we have that support of Halloween Lore. The combo is just so damn nice. And because we can only use one special here, it works very, very nicely in our particular favor. We are just going to hit some perfects here, and we do want to end it off with our int units. Hopefully Whitebeard doesn't get the kill. Okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Hopefully we can actually pick up an orb here. I guess not. Okay, well that's not good. That's not good. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. What can we do here? What can we do here? We don't have any barrier pen, which kind of sucks. We might be in strife. Alright, beautiful. Now we're going to have the resilience, right? Yeah. Alright, well, we managed to get down with the resilience, and then we can just use the Kid special. Kid's just basically going to get through that easy peasy. But you are going to need a little bit of luck with that Psi Orb there. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be a little bit tricky to get around. On the final stage against Blackbeard, though, he's going to give us a full board of Block Orbs, Despair, Bind, and Attack Down. So this is where, well, actually, yeah, you kind of need Rockstar as well, because he removes the Attack Down, as well as the Despair, and he removes the Block Orbs. So, like, this particular team I wouldn't really recommend, but I did want to show you guys that there are a few, like, janky ways to actually, like, get around this particular fight if you have some of the new batch. Ben Beckman and Rockstar are really, really good for the final stage. The versatility of Whitebeard is really good because you can't use HP cuts on this final stage, so just be mindful of that as well. But with Whitebeard, you basically just get everything that you need to actually take out Blackbeard and finish him off easy peasy. I don't know if that 90% damage reduction is going to be enough here, but we'll find out. Yeah, beautiful. That 90% damage reduction that Whitebeard provides is very, very nice. But as you guys saw, this team is very, very janky. I would not recommend it. It isn't exactly the safest team in the world, but it can get the job done. And look, I've run it a couple of times, and it's worked every time for me. That's actually the closest I've got to failing. Of course, that's always the way when it comes to the video. So 4.09 points. Let's move on to the big old Quailin team now. And for the final team, we're using the big old Quailin team. We're using the new batch, we're using the new unit, and we're using the two new Verse abilities characters hybrided up together. And Verse, Whitebeard, and Shanks, they work so damn well together, mainly because they're both Psi and Int-based boosters, and it just works so ridiculously nicely. The combination of the two, giving a lot of HP, giving a lot of damage reduction, and with the Magello ship giving even more damage reduction, it just works so damn nice. You can actually build up your versatility very, very fast thanks to Ben Beckman. He makes you start with a full board of Psi Orbs, which means that you can automatically just start with 6 of the orbs that you need. Whitebeard's going to make Int Orbs easier to land on. Shanks is going to make Psi Orbs easier to land on. And as you guys can see there, by the second turn, we already have our versatility ready to go. No issues whatsoever. On stage 3, we come up against Jesus Burgess. Now, Jesus Burgess is going to put up that Int Orb barrier, and it is a little bit annoying, but because I do have double special activation on my Vista, I can actually use the special of Vista here for an orb buff. We do want to make sure that we can actually get a Int Orb, but because of Whitebeard, we can actually pretty much guarantee that, thanks to his amazing Captain ability. If you don't take out, what's his name? If you don't take out Jesus Burgess on the first turn, he is going to start blowing away units. So you do want to try and make sure that you either farm up 1 Int Orb, or you just take your chances like I did there. It's pretty common that you're going to get at least 1 Int Orb there. Otherwise, you can just cop a blow away. It's not that big of a deal. You could also use the versatility of Shanks there. That's another option just to do a little bit more damage. But on the next turn, we can remove the damage reduction and the threshold that Van Ogre puts up with the Vista special. And then we can use the verse ability of our boy Shanks. You can also use the special of BANARO Blackbeard here. He's going to work very, very nicely. But as you guys will see, we can easily take this particular stage out. On the previous turn as well, actually, you can easily use the Shanks special. That's actually going to give you a lot more damage, and that way you can actually get the carryover effect into this particular stage, use the verse ability on the previous turn, and just do heaps more damage. That's actually going to make it a lot smoother for you guys, as Shanks is going to guarantee the kill against Jesus Burgess. He's going to guarantee that Int Orb as well. You can still use Vista. He's going to give you color affinity, and then you can use something like the Vista on the next turn. If you don't have the double special, you always have the special of BANARO Blackbeard. On the final stage against Blackbeard, we have Gloom, Bind, and Block Orbs, as well as Attack Down. Ben Beckman's going to get around the Bind and give us a Chain Lock. We can get around the Block Orbs, the Despair, and the Attack Down with Rockstar, but Rockstar also removes Chain Lock, so you ideally want to use Rockstar first. We can then use the verse ability of Whitebeard to give ourselves, get that HP cut. We have Verse Shanks to give us a full board of Orbs and a base stat boost, as well as a big orb boost, and then Whitebeard is literally just going to finish it off with his attack boost. With that, Bob's your uncle. See you later, Blackbeard. Blackbeard dies, and he does 27,000 damage on death, but with the versatility of Whitebeard and Magello, like, we don't have to worry about that at all. So that's going to wrap up today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. If you are new to the channel too, hit that big red subscribe button as well. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. A big thank you once again for 5k subs. Let's aim for 10 now. But guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Lates.